Welcome to Deep Thought. Learn to see the big picture. Now, I haven't done a big picture video in a long time, and I would say that's one of the few things that is part of a general philosophy. Usually I say most of the time, maybe 95% of the time, I throw out stuff just for you to think about. But when I talk about see the big picture, that's more a philosophy that I'm sharing with you. When I'm looking at stuff, I try to see the whole thing. Like I've talked before about, different creatures and what they will see. Like a lizard, a reptile might just see its immediate area, whereas an insect might see a bit more based on whatever its hive or its group is doing. Meanwhile, the bird can see a great thing. Sometimes you gotta be a bird brain about this thing. But think about a bird. They see everything that's happening. Insect might see the yard, the reptile might just see its immediate area, but the bird will see everything. And I want y'all to think about that, really think about that. Because if you're really looking at someone, think about the big thing. Like it's a funny thing. Let me use a personal thing. I'm known for talking about body game, but it's interesting. A detractor wondering if I work out, they'll see a car video, so they'll see the top here, right? They'll see the top. They don't see the whole picture. They've never seen me in person. They can't really see everything. Or let me use another example. If somebody, and I've had some people zoom in on the books I had in the background, but you don't see everything. The deeper books are never in the picture. The books that I have most obvious are like entertainment books or something. And then you can't see what's behind me. So you can't understand the whole picture. When we are looking at anything going on in the world, the politics, how people behaving and everything, like politics, it's one of the few times I'll discuss it. We're not seeing the big picture of it. Then there is a big picture regardless of what side you're on. There's a lot of change happening. And it's not just politics, it's just a part of it. But you have to learn to see all angles of it. It's just like when I've said before, I've said this publicly before. You know, I'm a black man, obviously, but I've read some white nationalist documents and things of that nature. And I've actually known some white nationalists personally, and I would sit and listen to them. I wouldn't get mad or emotional or anything. That's because I needed to see where they're coming from. Because when you see the big picture, then you can see everything affecting you. It's just like, let me use the insect example again. You know, there might be an anthill someplace. And they see, basically what's right there. What other ants see, they see as a group. But they not the bird. The bird see that flood coming. The bird can fly above it and everything. You want to see things that are coming. You want to see it. You want to look at little things. Like everything happening now publicly, what people are talking about. I remember telling an acquaintance of mine, a young lady acquaintance, I said, there's something bigger coming. There's something bigger. I'm just paying attention. And she said, she's gonna start paying attention too. She said the exact same thing. I said, something's coming. Because one of the things I've seen in life, and this is something I've noticed, something I've seen in life, there's always, no matter what happens in the world, politically, religiously, culturally, there's always something that happened years before that led to it. I pay attention to little things. Like the things going on politically now, I can point out where I start seeing things of this nature happening in the 90s. Or the 90s, sorry. But you have to pay attention to that. You have to pay attention to what's going on. You have to see everything because it affects you. Like when a flood is coming, you want to see that flood coming. A bird, like I said, a bird will see that flood coming. It's like, oh, there's going to be a flood down there. The ants or the lizards might not see it. They might not see everything. Socially, there's a lot of different stuff happening. Indeed, many astrologers, now I respect that everybody doesn't follow that, but some people do. They say the next 20 years will be a time of great change. A time of great change, and I'm seeing that now. And even on the political thing, we could change some things politically, but that's not going to change the overall. Changes in the air. Changes in the air, regardless of where you stand politically. Because there's cultural changes, economic changes, everything. How will that affect you? And indeed, I mentioned politics. That's because I'm looking at that. But then there's stuff happening religiously, spiritually. Then there's stuff culturally happening. There are changes in, I'll just say, the members of different ethnic groups, different racial groups. And you have to look at that and say, well, how would that affect what's going on now? How would that affect it? Like, let me talk about something economic. There are a lot of businesses where I live, in the area I live in, going out of business. Restaurants, department stores, everything. But this is despite the area as a whole, having a lot of money. A lot of professionals live around here. A lot of people with some money, yet you have some businesses going out. Why is that? But then I looked at the bigger picture. Let's just say the demographics of the area are changing. The demographics of the area. I would just say, like, let's use the example of conservative and progressive. When I first moved in the area, I would say it was a more conservative area, more conservative. But then it's becoming more progressive. I'm looking at the stores opening. Like, we didn't have a lot of yoga studios when I first moved in the area. Or we didn't have places that were serving vegan food as much when I moved in the area. But I'm looking at that, I was like, oh, why is this happening? Oh, okay. Or this particular store, this diner closing. Why? Because there are changes. I'm looking at the bigger picture, looking at the people, everything. That's very important. When you're looking at anything, try to look at it from a bird's view. Try to look at everything. Don't get caught up into your own bias. And I do mean bias, or want things just to be a certain way. Look at the other side, even if you disagree with them. Even if you disagree, that don't matter, it's still happening. Pay attention to everything, every little thing, every little thing. I remember mentioning weeks ago when I saw a symbol on somebody's jacket. I saw a symbol, it was on their arm. I actually looked it up. I actually looked up the symbol. I was like, okay, I'm gonna pay attention to that. If I start seeing that more and more, I'm paying attention because it could mean something. It could mean something. So I'm paying attention to that. When I go, I've talked about going through malls. I'll pay attention to the stores in there. When I'm going through neighborhoods, I pay attention to the hairstyles, clothing styles of different people. See the big picture, practice it. Try to look at everything. Take the bias out. Take the bias, because we all have bias. I have some biases, but I'll put them to the side and say, okay, what am I actually seeing? Learn to see the big picture, all right? So that's all I have for today. I want y'all to really think about this, all right? Really, really think about this. Anyway, I'll get back with y'all. Peace and blessings.